My dad brought the doll home from a small novelty shop off a highway we used to take on road trips. The place sold magic tricks, old toys, and handmade souvenirs. He said it reminded him of the ventriloquist figures he'd seen on TV as a kid. The shop owner joked while ringing it up, something like, "Those things feel different once you get them home." Nothing dramatic, just a weird comment you forget about. I loved the doll immediately. It wasn't antique or fancy, painted face, stiff jaw, glassy eyes, the kind of thing you'd expect to sit on a shelf. The changes were subtle. My mom noticed that its mouth never quite looked the same twice. Not moving, just different. Like the angle of the smile shifted depending on the lighting or where you were standing. My dad brushed it off as imagination. Hard plastic can't change expression. But we all started paying more attention. I used to leave the doll on the couch or at the dining table while I played. My parents began insisting it be put in a cabinet at night, not because they thought it was dangerous, but because they didn't like waking up and seeing it sitting there. They said it felt like being watched, which sounds dramatic until you hear two adults say it independently. One night, we heard footsteps in the living room, soft, slow steps. We assumed it was the dog. There was no dog in the living room. The doll was on the couch. No one could explain how it got there. This is the part that still makes my family uncomfortable. My uncle was staying with us while my parents were out of town. He swore he heard my dad calling him from the other room. He answered back, walked into the living room, and found the house empty, except for the doll, sitting upright on the couch. When he told us later, my dad admitted he'd experienced something similar, hearing his name called when no one was home. No one said the doll did it, but no one wanted it around anymore either. My parents didn't panic. They didn't call a priest or a psychic. They did what practical people do when something feels wrong. They tried to destroy it. It wouldn't burn properly. The plastic warped but didn't melt the way they expected. Cutting into it was harder than it should have been. Eventually, they threw it out. The next morning, it was back in the trash bin. That alone could have been a mistake. Someone moving trash around, animals, confusion. But the fact that everyone in the house noticed is what stuck with us. They buried it in the backyard and poured cement over it. Not because they thought it was evil, but because they didn't want it coming back into the house. After that, things stopped. No footsteps, no voices, no unease. Years later, we moved away. As adults, we've talked about it. Every version of the story matches. Same details, same timeline. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe fear fed on itself. Maybe we were all influencing each other without realizing it. Or maybe there are some objects that absorb more of us than they should. All I know is this: none of us would ever bring something like that into our home again, and none of us ever went back to dig it up.